I was hauling crates from the cargo bay to the docks of Veridian Station when I saw her. She was hunched and wobbling, her arms clutching bags filled with what looked like alien fruits and iridescent fabrics. Most folks gave her a wide berth, probably because of the 4 eyes and scaled skin, but I couldn't help myself. I jogged over. "Need a hand, ma'am?" I asked. Her eyes, 2 of them at least, blinked up at me with surprise. "Oh, such a sweet Terran boy," she cooed, her voice rasping with age and a slight clicking accent. "If it's not too much trouble." I took the bags, which were far heavier than they looked. For someone who barely reached my chest, that old lady had been hauling a serious load. I tried not to grunt as I followed her through the crowded station, weaving past vendors and hollow-head boards. She chatted the whole way, thanking me profusely, and calling me all sorts of pet names that made passers-by snicker. We reached her docking bay, an old freighter patched with different metals like a quilt. Inside, it was crammed with boxes and trinkets, a faint aroma of spices hanging in the air. As I set the bags down, a door slid open, and a younger alien woman stepped out, pausing mid-sentence when she saw me. She was gorgeous. Scales that shimmered like opals, eyes bright and wide with shock. I fumbled, almost dropping the bags. "Grandmother, who is this?" she asked, her voice carrying a blend of curiosity and suspicion. "This dear Terran boy helped me carry my things," the old woman declared proudly. "Such a kind soul. Very strong, too." I stammered some kind of reply, scratching the back of my neck. The younger woman's cheeks darkened to a soft blue. Was she blushing? I wasn't sure how their biology worked, but I hoped that was a good sign. "You must stay for tea," the grandmother insisted, already bustling to clear a space on a cluttered table. Before I could refuse, I was seated on a crate with a steaming cup of something that smelled like cinnamon and citrus. I sipped politely, trying not to flinch when it fizzed on my tongue. The old woman beamed, patting my arm with a clawed hand. "So strong and polite. It's settled then?" "Sorry, what's settled?" I blinked, confused. The granddaughter's eyes widened. "Grandmother, no, he doesn't." "Nonsense!" the old lady interrupted with a dismissive wave. "It's a fine match. He helped me of his own free will. Tradition is clear." I choked on the tea. "Match? Wait, what tradition?" The granddaughter groaned, covering her face with both hands. "The ancient customs," she muttered, voice muffled. "Helping an elder with a burden is considered a proposal of alliance, marriage, essentially." My brain short-circuited. Marriage? I was just being polite." The grandmother grinned, revealing far too many teeth. "Polite or not, tradition is binding. Unless you wish to dishonor my house?" Her eyes glinted with sly amusement. I looked to the granddaughter, who was still hiding her face, her scales flushing deeper blue. Back to the old lady, who seemed to be enjoying my panic. I tried to find an exit strategy that didn't involve insulting their entire species. Before I could finish, a harsh voice boomed from the docking entrance. A group of armored aliens stomped in, enforcers, by the looks of their insignias. Their leader, a hulking brute with tusks, pointed a gauntlet finger at the grandmother. "Izari clan," he growled. "Your debts remain unpaid. This vessel and all contents are forfeit." The grandmother clicked her tongue. "Oh, hush. Can't you see we have a guest?" The enforcer did not look amused. 2 of his goons moved forward, and instinct took over. I stepped between them and the women, hands raised. "Hey, let's talk this out. No need for violence." The leader sneered. "Out of the way, Terran. Unless you're volunteering to pay their debt?" I hesitated for half a second too long. The grandmother's eyes sparkled. "Ah, how brave. Such a good husband." "Oh no," I whispered. "Oh, yes," she grinned. And just like that, I was roped into a fight I wanted no part of. I barely had time to duck as the first goon swung a baton at my head. Years of unloading cargo and brawling with drunks on station docks had me reacting on instinct. Sidestep, grab, twist. The baton flew out of the alien's hand, clattering to the floor. The granddaughter joined in, moving with lethal grace, her claws flashing. For an awkward introduction, we made a pretty good team, dodging and covering each other's backs. The grandmother cackled gleefully from her crate throne, sipping her tea as we fought off the enforcers. When the dust settled, I was out of breath, leaning on a crate for support. The enforcers were groaning on the floor, and the grandmother was still grinning. "Well done, my dear," she chirped. "What a lovely wedding gift." I stared at her, gasping. "This is not how I thought today was gonna go." The granddaughter's cheeks were still flushed, but she managed a small, shy smile. "I suppose we have much to discuss." "Yeah," I muttered, wiping sweat from my brow. "Like annulments. Do you guys do annulments?" The grandmother chuckled. "Oh, hush. You'll make a fine husband." I groaned, half in disbelief, half in defeat. Somehow, I had a feeling my life was never going to be simple again.